From the 6th to the 13th centuries, Africans were experiencing a period of intellectual, cultural, and economic progression. The sun had really lit on the African continent, in all its magnificence, just like it had in the days of ancient Egypt. Today, we are taking a look at some medieval African kingdoms that are absolutely worth mentioning. The Kingdom of Ghana. This kingdom was based in what is today Senegal and Mauritania, from around 750 to 1078 AD. This kingdom was known for its wealth, power, and control of the trans-Saharan gold and salt trade. One Arab writer, Al-Hamdani, describes Ghana as having the richest gold mines on earth. The empire's capital was Kumbisala. It had a well-organized administrative system. This kingdom possessed sophisticated methods of administration and taxation. It also had large armies. According to one narrative, the king had at his command 200,000 warriors and an additional 40,000 archers. Fun fact, the dogs that belonged to the king of Ghana wore golden collars, and its horses, which were adorned with silken rope halters, slept on plush carpets. It is no wonder that foreigners touted Ghana's kings as the richest men in the world. No empire lasts forever, and at about the year 1240, Ghana was absorbed into the growing nation of Mali, which would soon become the next great empire. The Kingdom of Benin. The Kingdom of Benin occupied an area that is now located in south-central Nigeria. It was founded about the year 1200. It was without doubt one of the major powers in West Africa. The first Oba, or king, in Benin was Iwika. The kingdom reached its greatest power and size under Oba Ewo the Great. He expanded the kingdom and improved the capital. The kingdom was well known for its massive walls. Now let's take a look at their military. According to one eyewitness report written by Olfat Dapa, the king of Benin can in a single day make 20,000 men ready for war, and, if need be, 180,000, and because of this he has great influence among all the surrounding peoples. This empire also developed a hugely artistic culture, especially for its pieces made using bronze and iron. This was how one merchant described Benin City. Benin City is at least 4 miles wide. The city has wide, straight roads lined by houses. The houses are large and handsome with walls made from clay. The people are very friendly and there seems to be no stealing. The Benin Empire carried out a great amount of trade in ivory, palm oil, and pepper with foreign traders. By the 1800s, Britain wanted to take over Benin's rich natural resources. In 1897, the group of British officials tried to visit Benin. A group of warriors drove them back and several British men were killed. This attack made the British angry. They sent over 1,000 soldiers to invade Benin. Benin City was burnt to the ground, and at the same time, the British soldiers looted the city of its prized artifacts. The Kingdom of Benin became part of the British Empire. The Ajuran Sultanate. This empire was located in the region of modern-day Somalia, and their influence stretched across into eastern Ethiopia, from 1200 AD. The rulers followed Islam and so did the entire empire. Some of the key cities of the empire were the cities of Barawa and Mogadishu. The empire left an extensive architectural legacy, being one of the major medieval Somali powers engaged in castle and fortress building. Many of the ruined fortifications dotting the landscapes of southern Somalia today are attributed to the Ajuran Empire's engineers. The Ajuran Empire was the only hydraulic empire in Africa. It maintained power through the control of vital water sources. The Ajuran state monopolized the water resources of the Shebelle and Jaba rivers. Many limestone wells and cisterns were built during that time. The Ajuran Empire relied on agriculture and trade for most of its income. Major agricultural towns were located on the Shebelle and Jaba rivers. This empire traded with the following kingdoms, just to name a few: Ming Empire of China, Mughal Empire of India, the Ottoman Empire, the Portuguese, the Dutch, the Swahili Coast, Monomopita among others. This empire imported, from these different states, textiles, fruit, cloth, gold, and exported sheep, horses, cloth, grain, and wood. In the early Ajuran period, the army's weapons consisted of weapons such as swords, daggers, spears, battle axes, and bows. Later, the Ajuran government, with assistance from its close ally the Ottoman Empire, began importing firearms, muskets, and cannons. Numerous stone fortifications were erected to provide shelter for the army at the coast. The Ajuran Empire slowly declined in power at the end of the 17th century. After the fall of the Kingdom of Ghana, the Mali Empire rose to dominate West Africa. The Mali Empire was founded by Mansa, which means King, Sandiata Keita. You've probably heard of Mansa Musa. He led Mali at a time of great prosperity during which trade tripled. During his rule, Mansa Musa doubled the land area of Mali. It became a larger kingdom than any in Europe at the time. The cities of Mali became important trading centers for all of West Africa, as well as famous centers of wealth, culture, and learning. Timbuktu, an important city in Mali, became one of the major cultural and learning centers of the empire and indeed, the entire world. Mali prospered from taxes collected from its citizens, and all goods brought in and out of the empire were heavily taxed. Gold nuggets belonged to the king, but gold dust could be traded by the people. At certain times gold dust was used as currency together with salt and cotton cloth. In 1433, however, the city was conquered by Tuareg nomads and eventually the Songhai Empire took over. The Kingdom of Congo. I've spoken about the Congo Empire several times before. This kingdom was a large kingdom in the western part of Central Africa. This kingdom was founded around 1390 AD and would reach its peak in the mid-1600s. The Kingdom of Congo, with a population of well over 2 million people at its peak, prospered thanks to trade in ivory, copper, salt, cattle hides, slaves and cloth. Within the empire, there were specialized groups of craftworkers such as weavers, who produced the famous raffia fabrics of Congo. There were also potters and metalworkers. The Portuguese began trading in Congolese slaves very quickly after their contact with the Kingdom of Congo. The Congolese king would protect his own subjects from slavery, while selling people from enemy neighboring kingdoms. When the Portuguese involved themselves in the buying of slaves from Congo, this resulted in the commoditization of human lives. In certain cases, slaves were used as gifts to the Catholic Church as thanksgiving to bishops for performing baptisms and religious ceremonies. The universal currency in Congo was shell money known locally as Zimbu. 100 Zimbu could purchase a hen, 300 a garden hoe and 2,000 a goat. The kingdom had a strong military that consisted of archers, drawn from the general male population, and a smaller corps of heavy infantry, who fought with swords and carried shields for protection. A large number, perhaps as many as 20,000, stayed in the capital. Smaller contingents lived in the major provinces under the command of the governors. This empire is also known for its encouragement of art. Despite the vast differences in culture across the empire, the art was surprisingly very similar and was given a lot of importance, with the most important art form being sculpting. Unfortunately, in part due to internal divisions, the Congo Empire collapsed and was then fully integrated into the Portuguese colony of Angola. The Kingdom of Axum. The Kingdom of Axum arose in Ethiopia about 100 AD. This African kingdom thrived for many centuries. Axum, the capital city, had a population as high as 20,000. It had elaborate monuments, a well-known one being the obelisk of Axum. At one time, Axum was considered to be a world power alongside Persia, Rome, and China. Gold and ivory were their most valuable export commodities, but they also exported tortoise shells, rhinoceros horns, frankincense, myrrh, emeralds, and salt. In exchange, they imported textiles, iron, steel, weapons, glassware, jewelry, spices, olive oil, and wine. Their trading partners were Egypt, Arabia, India, and China. Axum even minted its own coins, in gold, silver, and bronze. These coins have been recovered in multiple foreign locations, including as far away as India. In the 4th century, Axum became Christianized. After the Prince Ezana took the throne, he proclaimed Christianity as the state religion. However, climatic changes and invasions from Islamic states led to its decline. The Kingdom of Zimbabwe. This kingdom was founded about 1100 AD. The rise of Great Zimbabwe was brought about particularly because of its gold and ivory resources. This kingdom traded with far-flung states such as India. This brought much wealth and influence to the city. Glass beads from Persia, porcelain from China and coins from Kilwa are just some of the artifacts uncovered by archaeologists at Great Zimbabwe. Apart from the trade, the major achievement of the Kingdom of Zimbabwe was its architecture and stone masonry. The buildings in the city of Great Zimbabwe were built completely without the use of mortar and have survived the test of time, from the 14th century to the modern era. One of the most notable artifacts discovered to date are the 8 Zimbabwe birds. The birds are 16 inches tall, carved from soapstone. The birds contain both human and bird-like features, including lips for a beak, and 5-toed feet for claws. They had been placed on monoliths, some that were taller than 2 meters high. The Kingdom of Zimbabwe began to decline around 1450 and had been abandoned by 1700. Africa has a very rich history and we have only scratched the surface. So much more is yet to be discovered. It will be a good day when African governments realize how important it is for us to dig deeper into our history and commit to encouraging archaeological digs in their respective countries.